TV cameraman David Villarreal is on the scene of an oil storage tank fire near Three Rivers, Texas. It's the type of story he has covered many times before.
Hey, what's going on? When I got to the scene, I saw the volunteer fire trucks working. It was out in the open country. There was two tanks there. One of them appeared to be on fire.
We had quite a few oil tank fires, 4, 5, 6 a year.
Billy Shaw was chief of the Three Rivers Volunteer Fire Department. That's him holding a walkie-talkie.
It's a large tank, several thousand barrels, compared to the ones we fought in the past, which were only a few hundred barrels.
Authorities suspect the blaze was set off by a welder's torch. Crude oil tanker fires are dangerously unpredictable because of their volatility and enormous fuel supply. With that kind of potential for disaster, David's surprised he's given full access to the scene.
It didn't appear that anybody was telling anyone to stay away. I pretty much got as close as I wanted.
We thought we had it pretty well extinguished.
At one point, even a firefighter got a sandwich and a soda, and I was getting ready to pack my equipment. I thought, you know, it's time for me to go.
Stop operations in about 10 minutes.
Then an ominous rumble in the ground signals trouble in the air.
I looked up and I said, oh my God.
A Texas-sized explosion detonates in the desert. 210,000 gallons of crude has erupted into an 1,800-degree fireball that has people running for their lives.
It was like a nuclear bomb that went off.
In my mind, I was fixed to be burned alive.
David keeps his camera rolling, even as he runs for his life.
I thought, this is it. Better turn the camera backwards and run as fast as I can.
In the midst of the madness, David radios his editor back at the TV station.
Smitty, this thing blew up. We're gonna have burn victims.
I had blisters the size of lemons on my arm and on my head, and I needed to be treated pretty quick. But at the same time, I looked back and I saw how worse those other people were. People were walking around putting water and ice everywhere.
What happened is called a boil-over explosion. Why it happened is a bit more complicated.
Water is not your friend in a crude oil tank fire.
Fire protection specialist Gordon Lohmeyer is an expert on oil fires.
When your crude oil is on fire, it heats up the tank. A heat wave travels to the bottom of the tank 1 foot per hour until it reaches the water layer. It actually converts the water from a liquid phase to a steam phase. It expands 1,700 times to 1.
And that's enough to set off this. Look closely and you can actually see the steam expanding into flames. Once the temperature reaches 212 degrees, it's only a matter of time before the steam ignites an explosion. Obviously, you need water to put out a fire. So how could this have been avoided?
Every gallon of water that you put into that tank needs to be drained out.
Most likely, this wouldn't have happened if a water release valve at the bottom of the tank had been fully opened.
It eventually catches up with you when you put enough water on that tank.
And when it comes to fighting oil fires, the clock is ticking.
The longer the fire rages, the hotter that it gets and the lower the heat wave goes in the tank, thus setting you up for potential boilover.
When the explosion hits, all fear the worst.
I was afraid that we'd have some fatalities.
Fortunately, Chief Shaw is wrong, although 22 people are injured in the inferno, and many of the scars remain today, both physically and emotionally.
I've covered many fires, but to be part of the story, that was the first, and I don't ever want to go through